Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity, presenting the 7 Ways Why podcast. 7 Ways Why Negativity is Socialized Brainwashing. It's something I opened up to realize when I done a inner, lot of voyaging into my childhood and my life and everything. I discovered negativity was taught to me to control me, my thinking, my inner dialogue, and my inner landscape. And then as I opened up to this and I started listening and hearkening my daily life, it all opened up to me. The media talks in negativity, the school system talks in negativity, education and business talk in negativity. And then when I was with all my friends and trying to fit into all the cliques in school, that was about gossip, trying to say this, you'd say bad things about people. And so I embedded a backbiting bullshit way of life. No other way to put it. And then, you get around, and if your family swears and you're around people, swearing becomes a way of life. And am I guilty? Oh, hell yeah. Big time. But you really develop the socialized brainwashing through the words we speak. And we hear the negativity, we listen for the liberation. We hear negativity and listen for the liberating wisdom of the day. Something I've discovered over the last 3 years, listening. And when I opened up to it, now I can just sit around and listen all day. Before I had to be the center of attention, be the limelighter, and oh my God. Just be the pure. And the more people talk, the more fearful they are. And that's like the school bullies and somebody that wants to be the know-it-all. They live in fear. And something else I discovered, education teaches fear and negativity. Because people get really highly educated and then everything has to fit into that book. Then they become afraid of what they know, they're afraid of what other people know, and they're afraid of their own knowledge. It may not be good enough. And when you got just unadulterated wisdom, insight, and clarity about your life, you put out a free flowing, forthright, liberating lingo to liberate yourself from yourself and the world from you. Because I really opened up to this and I really understood negativity is socialized brainwashing because it's easy to control negative people with education and the community way of life. When you speak of wisdom, insight, clarity, like Gandhi was a unique person. The more you understand him, and also uh, me, I love the Native American wisdom. If you could sit down and talk to one chief, if I could sit down and talk to one chief, it'd be Geronimo, Chief Joe, Sitting Bull, uh, Crazy Horse, and several other ones. But Chief Joe, he was an interesting guy because he took his whole tribe and hid them for 2 months from the army and up in the Okanagans in Washington State. Did you ever really sit back and just let silence overcome and listen? The Native American chiefs and the Indians, they kept the landscape. They never destroyed the landscape. And here we come with our modern way of life. We destroyed the landscape. Now we destroyed the sovereignty of the United States, but here we are thinking we're going someplace. And negativity and pessimism is taught to me to control my thinking, knowing, my knowledge, and my way of life. Because everything is against me. I got one that happened to me. That happened to me. And the world is nothing but full of a bunch of whining crybaby people right now. waiting for somebody else to do it for us. I was. And the thing about admitting this kind of things, you liberate you from all the self-help, personal growth, and all the goals. And oh, that guy did this. The only one that did anything to you is you. A lot of it for me was trying to fit in with the crowd and trying to fit in with something. It was never the outside world. It was my insecurities, immaturities, me intimidating myself, never thinking I was good enough, and all that. That's what I taught myself. And that's the way I stayed until about 5 years ago when I discovered the outside world's innocent. The only one that can do anything to me is me. And the only way I can have a bad day is I do it to myself. So that's why I liberate me from me. And that's why we were taught that the words we speak change, heal, create, transformation. You did this, they did this. Are you going to let them go? Are you going to do this? And they're actually innocent. It's your illusions and delusions of you that cause the PU within you and me. See, here's the thing. Most people want to act like they're above all this stuff. If you're speaking about it or writing about it, it's within you. Because if you're thinking it, doesn't mean you're liberated from it. And that's why I stopped listening to the self-help, personal growth, self-improvement, and a lot of the gurus, and I really stay away from marketers. I got a guy that I work with, he's good, but I stay away from marketers, and because all they are is an extension of socialized education. And the world is never going to rise out of anywhere with socialized education and the third world business mindsets that think they own the people, or the people are enslaved to them. When you open up to this and admit it to yourself, you can rise of your own free-flowing energy of intuition, imagination, innovation, and intuition to rise. See, our unique, sleek talents and wisdom will never fit into a socialized box because we've been brainwashed that this is it. And also, I've said this a lot of times, and I'm really going to emphasize business, education, and corporate America and the politicians will never rise us out of where we're at because they like the control. And it isn't they're the ones controlling us. There's another level of I call them the fascist felons are really controlling us. And money will never rise us out of the challenge we're in. Money is a byproduct of wisdom, insight, clarity, innovation, inspiration, imagination. Money will never rise out of it because people's appetite for money is more bigger than their integrity and their honesty. And that is a true statement. It even comes to me. I'm not innocent on none of this. And when I listen to all these people tell me they have a business, people are taught that business is the way forward. But people that tell me they have a business, I listen to them and they sound like a robot because business is a name on a sheet of paper in a file cabinet, just like corporate America. They changed the laws so it's a person, but it's just a name on a sheet of paper in a file cabinet. But when you start listening to them, they think, well, all the money's got to go for business. Well, when it goes into a business, it stops circulating. The only thing that circulates out of a business is the wages and the stuff they buy, but that goes in. But wages go from the bottom up, and a dollar bill circulates 1 to 25 times once it hits the open deal. But so that's why a lot of the burping BS that we've been taught is to teach us negativity and pessimism. So we follow inside the fascist felon's way of life. We're actually puppets for a big stage. And people that think they got all these degrees, all they are is puppets for the or they are puppets for the fascist felons, and they all want to talk about culture, business. Business and education will never rise people out of where they're at. It'll rise individuals, but it'll never rise the world, because education and business is never sees all the people for what they are. And that's where the world has been left behind. And see, now that I understand this and I go back to my uh, understanding, the world come up with people's ingenuity, not with business. And we was back when I was younger, the world was they had unique. Every place had its uniqueness. Now it's just like one size fits all, and it's a canvas of just corporate control. And the more we become corporate controlled, the more we become puppets of a well, basically we become the puppets of the corporations and what politicians think we should be. And negativity is also an ancestor pessimistic programming. See, we live our ancestors' programming whether we want to believe it or not. And that's where the enslaving mindsets come and everything happens. But when you can realize you're a puppet, you can cut the strings and fling the puppet party in the garbage and let it float away into the compost pile, become fertilizer for today. And also, if you listen to the world, we talk in historic rhetoric of what happened yesterday. War's away, pillage, plunder. He did this, she did this. And we never ever get to the present moment. History will never talk about the present moment. History is back there. But history is the same today as it was back there. Because we never ever hearkened and witnessed the wisdom of history. We've always been taught the pessimistic negativity of history. So we think it is the way it is. Well, look at today. You got Ukraine and Russia, Iran, Israel, that whole mess over there. All they're doing is fighting an ancestor puppet war, propagandized war. People hate people because they don't even know them. We're supposed to hate you because our ancestors said. And that's the way the world lives. And yesterday. And then I got on a lot of these. And I started my hypnotherapy business about 3 years ago. And I realized something. If you're going to talk to the business world or the people, the marketers, you got to stay inside the box of their education, because outside of their box, they're lost. They're lost in the real world. And ever since we become controlled by the real educated and the business and the corporate and the third world enslaving mindsets, how are we doing? See, that's something we never step back and say, how are we doing? To me, it is how we're doing. It's why am I here? Why am I being invited to this party to raise people of peace and prosperity? See, we've never rose out of the war, pillage, plunder, and the enslaving mindsets of the ancestors. And so when you go to college and you get all them degrees, you're being taught an enslaving mindset. You know, the thing about the world is, to rise out of where we're at, you're going to have to hear and listen and hearken things that make you uncomfortable. And, you know, I've listened to these guys, you know, all the business people saying how we do this, how they do that. But you know, one thing about the corporate America and all the business, they don't do a damn thing without the middle class tax money. So don't give me that. The middle class, or the blue collar, the hourly workers, they're going to lead the world to prosperity, because the other people are too greedy and stingy to do that. And they lack the inspiration, intuition, imagination, innovation to raise the world out of any further than their books. If you really sit back and listen and read what they're saying, all you see is a puppet programming. I call it sheepocracy. They just follow whatever that book says. And here's the thing, everybody says, well, we're awakening. We are awakening. I guarantee, yes, we are. But I'm also going to tell you this straight up. You're going to have to stand for some unsavory moments because it just isn't going to happen out of the blue. You're going to have some fortitude for what's coming down the world. And the historic rhetoric of what happened yesterday that meanders through our daily life unknowingly governs our inner dialogue, our inner negative dialogue. Is the con artist that manipulates us into our habitual thinking to be a follower of what other people want us to think and know. That's the thing. We're a creature of habit from our ancestors' survival mode programming and the fascist felons of the world, because that's what it is. And see, our parents learned from them. You can take it all the way back to the beginning of time. And it's basically the same today as it was then. It isn't about what is wrong in the world. What is your wisdom, insight, clarity, and fashion design lifestyle that's going to raise the world out of where it's at? Because you were invited here to raise the world out of the unsavory thinking and knowing of our ancestors and the third world business mindsets. As I now understand and admit, negativity was taught to me to control me. Because, oh, that guy did this guy did this. The outside world was always against me, and that's never been the truth. The outside world is for me. Everything that happens in the physical world is showing you your limitation, blockages, and where you need to expand, energize your wisdom, insight, and clarity to rise out of the current situations. So I'm awake and aware of the dare to shed, shred, and communicate away negativity and pessimism that was my socialized brainwashing bullshit. From my parents, school systemized laborious-ish, ancestor ingrained survival mode programming, embedded enslaving mindsets that I taught myself from the outside world, societized education that teaches the misery and the control of history, never ever the wisdom and liberation of history. See, that's the thing. We've never been showed liberation of history. We've just been taught that this does this. And if you really, and everybody says, well, we got to learn from history. Trouble is, we've never learned from history. We keep doing history is like a repeat movie. And I've been on the world since 1955, and we've never been 5 years without a war somewhere. I'm just talking about the United States, because when I was born, went from out of Korea to Vietnam, and then into the Middle East in the oil embargoes, then to Saddam Hussein, and then all that stuff. But we've never been at peace because we've never been shown peace. And the biggest challenge the world faces is we never understand peace, because peace is free-flowing energy. And a thinking, knowing mind is never at peace because it's always searching for something. As wisdom is the experience and listening is a calming celebration to expand through life. And the biggest thing about education for me, all of it, is what other people want us to know, think, and do. Education is secondhand information from how people want us to live and in the structure of other people's way of life. And we're the most educated we've ever been in life. We're also the most corrupt we've ever been in life. There isn't, I'm a blue collar person. I like being blue collar, and I'll be blue collar till the day I die, but I can never, ever understand. We keep talking this, and like everybody tells us this, and this, but it never happens. And when somebody says they're going to go into office and really do something, within 3 months, they fell into the cesspool of Washington, D.C. If you're going to stay in Washington, D.C., you're going to do what K Street says. I know I get a little political, but you got to understand the political in order to liberate yourself from the third world enslaving mindset and the propagandized educated world. So as I liberated me from self-help, personal growth, self-improvement, psychology written books and audios that are written and spoken from truth and reality limitation. Truth and reality is a false. It's fallacies. Because truth and reality comes from your viewpoints, opinions, and beliefs that keeps you stuck in yesterday. Because the real deal is they use education to control people with their propagandized gossip and the silent trolls of the world. As I now realize and admit, negativity is smoke and mirrors covering up their troll waves and third world enslaving mindsets that regulate the education system's curriculum that controls the minds of me and you. And once you say mind, think, and know, you're in the memories of yesterday. You want to listen for the intuition, imagination, innovation, and the spirit poise of now. And something I really discovered, and it's going to be a podcast. Nature is spirit. The cement world is the cloning of society. And so I now realize and esteem listening dissolves negativity, washing away my yesterday's thinking, knowing, knowledge mind, because I can never think, know, and listen in the same moment. As I listen of liberation, and now realize, admit negativity keeps me being a servant to my past events, encounters, experiences, and the way I did life. And inside the boundaries of socialized brainwash BS was instantly turned into ceremonious compost that swiftly fertilized my festive energy, revolutionized trend-setting, intuitive, lyrical imagination, zings, enterprising dreamers, daredevilry, rockets me out of my thinking, knowing, knowledge, learning thoughts to energize my free-flowing energy of my spirit poise, inspiration, intuition, imagination, and innovation electrifies my frequencies of far-seeing revelations that energizes my quick-witted, ubiquitous entrepreneurial nous. A canonized, innovative extravagance, streaming my clairvoyant candor to embrace my negativity with native engineering gumption, because I now know negativity is now born enterprising gumption, appreciating today, innovating visionary ingenuity, tantalizing the pizzazz within me. As I really understand now, I understand the education in life. They taught us to be servants to our past, so we stay inside the boundaries of socialized ways of life. So today's the day we liberate ourselves from ourselves to enjoy today by listening, coloring, and designing our world the way we desire. And so when you rise out of the negativity to open up to the free-flowing listening energy within you, you set yourself free. And I want to thank you. I am Robert A. Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity. And may your life be as blessed as you are a blessing to me and the world. And good night.